Hi, my name is Daniela Soberman. I live in Los Angeles, California. I am a first generation Serbian American. So I was born here, and my parents immigrated from former Yugoslavia in the 70s. So my parents are both kind of very creative, and I grew up in this creative environment. And so being creative and being artistic and being innovative was just always part of my life growing up. And so as I got older, I decided to kind of discover this. In the beginning, I was writing books and publishing books. And then later on, I went back to my creative practice and started to discover sculpture. And this is really where I found my passion. Um, and once I picked up clay and sculptural materials, I couldn't put them down. I needed to sculpt. And so this has been my life for now a decade. And the kind of sculpture that I like to do is abstract expressionistic sculpture. So I like to create something and I like it to capture an emotion in the moment. So things like this, where it's just a moment in time and it's captured in this very malleable material. So let's talk about COVID-19 and coronavirus and how that kind of impacted artists. I think in general, for those that are on the quiet side, maybe coronavirus and self-sequestering was not such a big deal. And for those that need a little bit more interaction, where you're going on studio visits and you're interacting with artists and you're talking about ideas, that was shocking. For me, I have a family, and so it was kind of nice to have a time together where everything kind of slows down. And in that slowing down period, for me personally, I had an opportunity to really dive deep into what I'm trying to do with sculpture. And at that moment, it really kind of has you thinking about things. I liken it to walking through the desert. We're all walking through the desert together, and nobody knows where we're going and what's happening. And sometimes, as you're walking, you're thinking, and you have great ideas because there's nothing else to think about. Sometimes when you're walking and you get stuck in the weeds and you kind of have to keep going. And so that's kind of what this process has been for me. Walking through the desert has been a time for self-reflection, and it has given me time to really kind of expand and get to work. So with a family, I have a young child who is schooling at home during Corona. So what that means is I have like one hand over here trying to make sure that he stays on task. And on the other hand, maybe I have a window of 1 hour or maybe 2 hours to create something. And so my process is based on, being at home and having a child at home, is that I work very quickly. And because I want to flesh out ideas, I work quickly and I work in volume. So I like to make a lot of pieces um, so that one or two will work. But that's just my process. So in my process, I like to create a lot so that one or two are good for me. So coronavirus affected me in that I still have this process where I want to create a lot, but now I have to do it in a shorter window of time because I have a child at home that I also have to manage and monitor and make sure that he's getting what he needs. The online residency was like a breath of fresh air. So because my family is Serbian and I've been to Serbia and former Yugoslavia many times, to find the Belgrade online residency was like such a warm feeling. It's like coming home. So I'm so actually honored that I was chosen to be part of this program because it kind of allowed me to start thinking about Serbian roots. Not that I don't, because I do. It's part of me and part of how I work. And the Serbian personality is very strong. But it also kind of allowed me to think about Serbian art and Serbian history in a way that I hadn't previously. And during that process, I guess it's this current process, I really fell in love with the spomenike. These are giant monuments located throughout former Yugoslavia. And I think recently or lately, They've gotten a lot of international recognition. I asked my parents, who are both from former Yugoslavia, if they knew about these spomenike, and they had not. So I think it's kind of like a open hidden secret. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm crazy for these spomenike. They're very large, giant, brutalistic, futuristic monuments, often located in a field of grass in the middle of nowhere. And these inspired me. It was like a match of my Serbian history and the way that I like to create. I don't like to create delicate things. I like heavy things, and I like to put emotion into it. So it kind of was a nice marriage. And so during this residency program, I am trying to explore this vein. And because I like to work in volume, I'm making more than one piece. I'm making several pieces. And because Belgrade is known for like experimental art, I'm pushing myself in ways. So for example, one piece that I'm working on is a take on one of the spomenike that I'm really crazy about called Three Fists. It's my take on one of those fists, and right now it's actually cooking in the kiln. So hopefully it'll be out soon, and then I'll be able to show you. And in that sculpture, I really kind of took my idea of one of the fists, and um, the three fists are very kind of modernistic and brutalistic, and it's my take, and I kind of added holes to it, kind of like bullet points, because not bullet points, bullet holes. The last time I was in former Yugoslavia, what struck me walking around the cities was how much remnant there was of the civil war that took place, that broke up Yugoslavia, and how many of these beautiful architecturally significant buildings still were ridden with bullet holes. And so it's kind of like a reference to that. The second piece that I'm making, I'm pushing myself, and it's going to be big. So normally I try to make modular sculptures, pieces that kind of fit together so that they can be stacked. But this one is much bigger um, than what I've done before. And I'm pushing myself, and I'm pushing the material to see what we can do together. Uh, so I can't wait to show you when they're finished. And this process has actually been great, and Bax has been wonderful, and I can't wait to see kind of what the rest of my cohort come up with, because I think artists together, what it feels like right now after this journey through the desert is that you see that human in the desert, and it's like a fever pitch for human interaction. So that is, now that we're kind of coming out of COVID, all of the artists and all of the people are like yearning for this interaction. And that's what this online residency is also kind of giving, because it's right at that moment where everything is opening. And so you have this online platform, but mixed with now this, everybody's coming out and yearning for human interaction. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to kind of explore and to push boundaries and to pay homage to my roots. Thank you so much.